how's it going? Welcome to my channel, Jessica in Progress. My name is Jessica, and today we are going over my September wrap-up. Was not a good month for me. First off, let's say that I was reading fan fiction for like 2 weeks, so I read a lot. It just isn't on my shelf. And I am not gonna go into detail about what I read, except it was rekindling of my Scorpal, romance. People can say that Scorpius Malfoy and Albus Potter are dreary recast, but honestly they're not. They're such a different backstory. Anyway, I ended up updating one of my fics too. I'm still working on it, so I'm excited for that. I'm getting myself in the habit of getting myself in the habit of writing again before I start tackling NaNoWriMo, because I haven't written like really in at least 4 years. And even then, that was a lot of like school writing and not a lot of like I'm inspired myself writing. I have this problem, or I had this problem since I'm not in school anymore. I had this problem of like focusing too much on the things that I enjoy and not doing anything that would benefit school. So in order to combat that, I did the most obvious thing ever and just kind of cut off all my joys whenever it came to schooling. So, whenever school was in session, I stopped role playing on Tumblr, I stopped writing, I stopped reading, I stopped playing video games. Thank God school is over because now I don't feel guilty about reading and doing all of these other things. Unfortunately, that did cause me to kind of, spiral into complete apathy and lose all my passion for reading and writing. And I started with reading, and again, this has been like a 2-year journey to get back into reading, and this YouTube thing is helping me be consistent with it. Writing is just going to be fun. I think, I'm going to keep dabbling in my little fanfic works because they're fun. But my nano, I'm going to make like a real thing, and I've kind of decided what I want to do author-wise, if I want to like write and publish, which I mean maybe eventually, but I have some ideas. I have one that I want to work with for nano. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's a lot of rambling. If it's still in there, hey, how's it going? Can you find my fic? Otherwise, let's get into our reviews of the books. So we started out strong this month with Masters of Death by Olivie Blake. Okay, now I read this immediately after I got it because I was super excited for it. There's going to be a vlog for both this one and the next one that I talk about, so I will go a little more into my thoughts and feelings on the vlog in the vlog. But here with this one, I'm just gonna say it is a large cast of characters. Okay, we've got Viola, who's a vampire. We've got a ghosty named Thomas the Fourth or something. We've got the godson of death. I forget his name. We've got an old Norse, not god, but like a mortal person. We've got a demon. We've got what am I missing? Oh, and we also have an angel, and we also have a reaper, and it's the whole big old cast. Okay, then we also have Death himself. There is this very vague gambling game that's going on, but the start of the plot is the fact that Viola is a realtor and she's trying to sell this mansion, but Tom died in there and now he's haunting it. So, hard to sell with a poltergeist in your house, mansion, whatever. Also, another big plot thing is that Death is missing. Okay, and then we also have the plot between the two boyos, the godson of death, and Brant, the Norse god guy, because they are ex-lovers. Aha. So, trouble in paradise. I really enjoyed it. I found the writing style interesting because I liked that she was playing with writing style, because we would have like a second person trap because we start off with like Death's point of view and it's like first person, right? And then the next chapter is second person, and I love a good second person point of view for a little bit. And then we also had like kind of breaks where we would go into dialogue only, because it was a cast of 6 people at least that were all in the same room talking at the same time. There are some things that I would have changed about it, and I don't particularly find myself super attached to the ending. I wish it was a little different. But overall, I think I gave this like a 4.75, 5-star. Like, I loved it. You know, what is the dude's name? Because he was my favorite. Fox. His name was Fox. I loved Fox so much in reading, like his personality. He made me laugh out loud, which is, you know, is been really hard for me with the whole apathy thing. But he made me laugh out loud a lot. I cried a little bit, or at least teared up. So despite all of its flaws, I think I still rated it a 5 in like reviews. But yeah, it's also a very pretty book. I mean, look at this. Alcrate knocked it out of the park. Anyway, I really enjoyed this. I can't wait to read it again. And, you know, I just wish that there was more. That's really it. I wish there was more. Okay, next book. Omen of Ice by Jus Accardo, or Jus Accardo. I still haven't looked up how to pronounce it. Anyway, as you can tell by the dagger in the book, I did not finish it. I actively chose not to finish it. So in this, we have a bodyguard druid girly and a fae prince brooding boy. Okay, so part of my problem is that the premise, I loved the premise. I think execution-wise, it was not the greatest. Now, that's just me being picky. I think if I were able to brain off Reid, I would be able to read it no problem. But I couldn't stop thinking while reading this about like how I would want to change it or edit it, you know? So it just kind of started becoming a slog to read for me. But I think the premise is good. And if you're the type of person that really, really liked ACOTAR, or you're the type of person that really, really liked The Cruel Prince, I think you're really gonna like this as well. So like, just because I didn't finish it doesn't mean that it's not a good book. The writing for me was not there. I would love to see what this author does as they improve their craft. Now, I know that they have a couple other books out, and I'm hoping they are striving to improve their craft and not just being like, I've published a couple, I'm comfortable here, and we're settling here. Like, I hope she improves her craft. But anyway, this is about Catalina. She is a bodyguard for the Winter Fae. There is this secret that the prince is hiding. You know, it's dual POV and it's very heavy dialogue. There's also a lot of twists and turns in this. Like, just because I said I didn't finish it doesn't mean that I didn't read the last 3 chapters to see what happens, because the plot and the premise were very intriguing. Again, I want to come back to this when I'm able to like brain off. But otherwise, it's the first in a series. So, you know, be careful there. Otherwise, again, if the execution were better, I would have really enjoyed this. So I'm not knocking the book. I'm saying that if you find the premise of female bodyguard and brooding male prince, ice winter fae, magic being seeped from the ground, a little reminiscent of ACOTAR, a little reminiscent of Cruel Prince, you will like this. So like, don't take my review as the end all be all, because you might still like this. Anyway, next one. Then I read what is it called? This author wrote it. Hold on. Let me look at your other books. I'm thinking of ending things. I'm thinking of ending things by Iain Reid. I'm thinking of ending things by Iain Reid. That was interesting. It was interesting. I'm gonna go with that. I don't think I read it in a state of which I could like process it fully. We follow Josh and our main character. I don't know if she was she given a name? I don't know. We follow her as she goes on this like Thanksgiving trip to meet her boyfriend of like a couple months, parents Josh, and there's a lot of weird creepy things going on. Like a lot of weird things going on. And the whole time she's just like, I should have broken up with him to begin with. Like I should not be here. I just want to be a little loner again. And then it progresses and more happens and it gets creepier and weirder and you're just like, what's going on here? And then you figure it out. I mean, you know, you can figure it out before if you are looking for the clues, you know, because there's like this interesting little twist on it. I think that I liked it. I'm gonna go with that. I do want to see the Netflix show / movie on it to see what they do with it because it's very interesting. But I'm thinking of Ending Things by Iain Reid. I think I liked it. We'll go with that. I can't really tell you more. It's a very short, like 200-page thing, I think. I read it digitally, so. And it very much is like once you get past meeting the parents, you can't explain it more because then it just like ruins the fun of it. I think it is something that you should kind of experience, but you should do it when you can think, you know. Next, I read a bunch of fan fiction, you know, and then we read for my book club. Come here, come here, come here. I can't, okay. And then we read Station 11 for my indie book club. This is a pandemic book. It was written in 2018, question mark? 2014. So this was, you know, before our craziness. And it is a very fast, very contagious flu that knocks out like 99% of the people. We follow Kristen, who was 8 years old when this happened, and it is now 20 years later. She is clinging to a actor that she acted with on Broadway, or like Chicago's Broadway. Who died not of the flu. Sorry. She is obsessed with the actor that she acted with on the last day before the world collapsed, who died on stage. We also follow 2 other people, 3, 4 other people, it depends on how you count them, who also had their lives revolving around this dead actor, Arthur. His name was Arthur. So we kind of go through like a little bit of flashbacks. We go through multiple POVs and it's, anyway, the main POV is Kirsten, I don't know, dyslexia switches the I and the R all the time for me. I called her Kristen. We follow her as she goes through the traveling symphony. She continues to act and do music with these people that travel from small town to small town. And they run into one of their older towns and something is up. Like, people are very different, okay? And then it just kind of goes through that. It was fun. I liked it. I think I closed the book and I was like, I don't know what to think about this. And I had to sit on it for a little bit. But after I sat on it for a little bit, I think I really did like it. There are some things that I was like, I don't know about. Like, I don't know if I particularly like whose POV the ending is. I liked the open, so one of the things in our book club that we talked about is the open-endedness of a bunch of other storylines going in, and I personally appreciated the open-endedness of a bunch of other storylines because it felt a little more realistic, especially for the world that we're currently in, with this like 20 years after the world ended, you know, and like we're trying to still figure things out. I liked the exploration of trauma and how it like goes down and how you recover from it at like a young age, and how people growing up in like there's this one conversation in the book that really stood out to me, which was the settlement. One of the settlements was talking about how they were teaching their kids who had never grown up in the before, and they were teaching them stuff about the before, and it freaked the kids out a little bit. So it kind of had this small conversation of like, do we tell our kids about the before if it's going to traumatize them more than they already are? You know? So I liked some of the themes that we were playing with in here, and I really did like it. It is intriguing enough for me to check out her other works. I don't know if I will ever read this again. One thing I did hear from other people in the book club is when they checked out the show changed a lot of things. So if you have already seen the show, it is different in the book. So there you go. Or if you have read the book, the show is very different. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it when I read it. You know, it was a fun little thing. If you have problems with pandemic books, like don't bother, because this is a pandemic book. But, you know, I enjoyed what it did. Moving on, next one. The Roughest Draft. I just realized I haven't been saying, I didn't say who authored this. So this was by Emily St. John Mandel. She wrote Station 11. Did I even say the name of the book, Station 11? I don't know. I read Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. After that, I picked up The Roughest Draft. Now, so I kind of was like bouncing this book around all month. It was like my in-between book thing, because I wanted to read it, but it just never grabbed me. And then I spent a good 2 hours reading it today. And it still just was not intriguing me. And eventually I just gave up, and I was like, I'm done. I'm bored. So this is The Roughest Draft by Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegemund-Broka. Okay. Now this follows two authors. It is dual POV and like occasionally dual timeline, but like the dual timeline doesn't do anything but slow us down. Okay, so these two people, they wrote books together. They had two books that they wrote together. They would workshop and hole themselves up in like an Airbnb in like Florida or something. And they came out with one book that was like super, super bestseller. Everyone loved it. But in the publishing of that book, the two authors had a very big falling out, and we don't know why. Okay, and at 50% of the way through, here's my little bookmark. Here's my little bookmark. At like 50% of the way through, we barely understand why they broke up in the first place. It was a little bit of like pining, I'm in love with this person, but they're married, and now they're trying to write a book again because they feel forced to or something, and they're just getting it over with. And their fight scenes aren't that great, because we don't fight, we just say we are fighting, and it's kind of annoying. And then we also like take forever to figure out what is wrong with them. And then I imagine after we figure out what is wrong with them, it's going to take forever for them to actually get together. You know, because it's a romance. They're supposed to get together in the end. From what I gather, they got real fighty, angry, pissy at each other because they liked each other, but they were unavailable. So emotional cheating. So don't read this book if you have a problem with like emotional cheating. Also don't read this book if you have a problem with boring characters. Like, they're so boring, and they don't even have like an ensemble cast to like prep them up. It is just the two of them locked in a room together. And I feel like you could have done a lot more, especially with at least 3 other people, the dude's wife, the chick's fiance, and then the friend that lives in Florida. Like, you could have bounced off of them a little bit more, but instead we have a very pretentious boy, we have a very self-conscious girl, and they are stuck together writing a book. It is interesting how it depicts 2 authors writing together. I think that's its strongest thing, but again, that's still kind of really boring. There is no characterization to the 2 people. I'm sorry. Other people, I was reading reviews of it to be like, do I finish this or not? Other people were like, yeah, I loved this book. The characters were great. So like, if you like an easy ass romance, go for it. But I'm gonna relate it to this one comment where the couple in this romance is like a chicken and mayonnaise sandwich. You read it when you're sick, but otherwise you don't touch it at all because it doesn't do anything. Anyway. It's so rude, but honestly, like, I wish it were better. I wish it were a lot better. It just wasn't. So I gave up on it. I said I'm not going to torture myself anymore with this. I tried skimming it a little bit, and then I was like, no, I really don't care. And I gave up on it, and I did not finish it. So that was my September. The fan fiction did me well. My first book did me amazing. I had 2 DNFs. This month doubled my DNFs. So otherwise, let's see what October brings us. I'm gonna try and be better about it, but we'll see. Because I'm like not in the mood to read any of the books that I have right now, which is kind of a shame. Anyway, I promise my October's gonna be better, or at least I'm gonna strive for it to be better. Especially because November is gonna be Nano, and who knows what that's gonna bring. Anyway, my name's been Jessica. Remember, we are all in progress. Thanks for watching my video. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.